So which camera should I take with me on my first foreign holiday for 2 years? Join me and we'll find out. Roll credits. Well, hi YouTube, Brian James, that Micro Four Thirds guy with you once again, and I am in a dilemma and I need your help. I need a little bit of guidance on this, so I'll be looking for comments as we go through to see what to do, but you'll have to be very quick to get them in. I'm going on holiday in a couple of days time, the wonderful island of Cyprus. I absolutely adore Cyprus. We're off to Paphos, the two of us, and we're really looking forward to the holiday. It'll be the first one we've had overseas in, what, 2.5 years now, so we're really looking forward to going back there. But I'm in a bit of a dilemma. Since I was last in Paphos, I've started this channel up. And because of that, I've spread some of the cameras that I've got. I've invested in a bit more of Micro Four Thirds glass and Micro Four Thirds bodies, partly to for my own self-satisfaction and partly to spread what we do on the channel, to give a little bit more of an insight in what we do. So I now have a collection of a few cameras. And I'm in a dilemma as to which camera to take on holiday with me. I'm only going to take one body, and I'm going to need some of your comments below just to tell me which camera body I should take and why. Now, to give you an idea as to what my thoughts are on this, I'm going to take a couple of 3 lenses. I'm going to be taking my Lumix 7 to 14mm f4 lens. That's going to be going with me. I'm going to be taking the lovely little 14 to 140mm super zoom lens, which I reviewed in a review up there. In fact, you'll have probably seen that there's been a link already up there for the 7 to 14mm. So I'm going to be taking those 2 lenses. And I think I'm probably going to take the 17mm Olympus Prime, the f1.8 Prime, because that's going to be a really useful lens if I go into somewhere in low light. I'm not taking the tripod with me, so all the stabilization is going to be in body. And that gives a few sort of advantages, should we say, over towards the Panasonic Lumix cameras, because obviously I'm going to be mainly using their lenses, not exclusively, but mainly. But which camera do I take? Now, I've got a choice of 5. 4 of them I'm showing you on this video here, on this little clip here, but there's one which is missing at the moment, which is my wonderful little GX8. I've loaned that out at the moment, so I'm going to be getting that back this afternoon, so I couldn't put it in this video. So which camera body do I take? Now, I also did a video, if you have a look above, which was about my holiday cameras, my travel cameras, and I actually said the GX8 was really up there with it, and I've been using that on a lot of my UK travels as I've been going around in the caravan and been going up and down Hadrian's Wall and places like that. But this is different. This is going abroad on a holiday, and I can't just pop back and get my change of camera in the next day or so. So I've got lots of factors that I really need to look into on that. And this is where maybe I need a little bit of guidance from you, so really would appreciate some comments. Well, first of all, I'm going to be looking towards the Lumix side. So I'll hit the GX8 first, since I don't have it here. The GX8 is fabulous, really is a great little camera, but it has some issues. The battery life on it isn't super terrific, although I do have spare batteries for all these cameras, so I always take a couple of batteries and a charger which works off USB, just in case I'm in an area where it's unusual for mains. But Cyprus is actually exactly the same main system as ours, same type of plug sockets and exactly the same voltage and restrictions, so we're not in too much of a dilemma on that one. But I do have USB chargers for all of my batteries. Now, which camera do I take? The GX8, as I say, is fabulous. It does come with some restrictions on it. It doesn't have the best IBIS in comparison to some of the other lenses, and remember, I'm using the Mark 1 lens on the 14 to 140, and the 7 to 14mm is an even earlier version. It's the earlier image stabilization on that, which doesn't work on the dual IS. So that could cause me a few problems, but of course we do have the in-camera image stabilization as well. I love the GX8. I think it's a really nice design. It doesn't look too bad when you're outside. It doesn't look as if you're some pro photographer trying to get the shots. It does look more touristy. And in some ways that could be quite useful, because sometimes the touristy cameras don't seem quite so attractive when you get people of maybe dubious intent to steal your camera or whatever. So it could be a bonus on that one. So the GX8 is a definite possibility. Of course, I could go super light and go for the GH1. But of course the GH1, yes, it is super light. It has nothing in the way of in-body stabilization in it, so that causes me a few problems. It's not the easiest camera to use. You don't have an electronic viewfinder. I'm old-fashioned. I like cameras to come up to my eye rather than look on the screen on the back, especially when it's bright. And of course in Cyprus at this time of year, being May, it's going to be rather bright and rather warm. So the GH1 is a definite possibility, but it has some serious drawbacks. Now the battery life on that, even with a spare battery, is atrocious. It's very early generation insofar as that, but luckily the camera doesn't use a great deal in its features because it doesn't have that many features. But the GH1 is maybe worth thinking about. Of course, bringing up the Lumix lineup, we've got the G9. Now I love the G9, and again there's a review just up there which I just did very recently, my long-term review on the G9, and it comes out with flying colours, it really does. But the problem with the G9 as a holiday camera is it is quite bulky, it is quite big and heavy. I know we're talking just a few grams over the other cameras, and it's millimetres on the difference, but it's amazing how that has a negative effect in your head. It is a feel big, heavy camera, and it does give you that sort of impression that it's going to be a bit bulky carrying it around, even if it's not really that much. So the G9 is there, fully featured, dual IS on that. When we come to using those lenses, it really is good. It's fantastic in that it's got some fantastic image quality, and a 20 megapixel sensor, of course, which of course the GX8 does have as well. But the G9 really is an interesting camera to take. Now if you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below, which I think is down that side if I get it right, and if you can give me a big thumbs up, that really does help the YouTube algorithms to spread the word further and wider. And as usual on these videos, and I really want to thank the people who've done this already, if you do want to support me with a cup of coffee and a little bit of financial help to keep the channel going, there is a PayPal link below, and anything that you do give on that really does help the channel. So thank you to those who have. But back to the cameras. What do I take? Well, the stalwart of my photography for the last few years when I've been going across on foreign holidays has been this. This is the OMD E-M1 Mark 1. Now I've got the battery grip on this one. I won't be taking the battery grip with me. I'll be leaving that at home because that just adds extra bulk. And I found on holiday I don't really need it. So the E-M1 Mark 1, it is a 16 megapixel sensor though. To some people that makes a big difference. To me it hasn't been a huge difference before. It does tend to chew through batteries in comparison to some of the newer cameras, but I have plenty of batteries on this one. I've got 4 or 5 spares, and they are easy enough to charge up, and they're very small and fit in the pocket easy, so it's not a big problem on that one. So do I use my E-M1 Mark 1? There is another drawback to that, of course. I've used it on almost every foreign holiday since I went to Micro Four Thirds. And maybe it's time that I had a bit of a change and a bit of a difference on that and explore new avenues. So the E-M1 Mark 1 is there amongst there. But also I've got another E-M1, which is the Mark 2. Now the Mark 2 I got about a year and a half ago. And of course I haven't had a chance for a foreign holiday with this camera. Now I love this camera, but I don't use it as much as maybe I should. I do find if I'm playing with Olympus, I tend to just go to my E-M1 Mark 1. And I tend to find that my normal carry-around camera is either the E-M1 Mark 1 or the GX8. So maybe the E-M1 Mark 2 is the right camera to go for. It does have some real distinct advantages insofar as 20 megapixel sensor. It has much improved IBIS. It has a lot better facilities on it. So maybe this is the camera to go for. Battery life is considerably improved, and as I say, I always have a spare battery for that one. So where are we at? What do we do on these? It's a big choice really, isn't it? And when you're several thousand miles away from home, you can't just go back and say, I changed my mind, I want to take this one today. I can't take more than one camera because of the weight limits on my hand baggage. I don't really want to be taking more than one camera. I'm going for holiday, not a photo shoot session. But I do enjoy my photographs on holiday. I do enjoy taking the photographs. I do enjoy some of the challenges I can get. Now I've pulled the weight of my kit down considerably insofar as holiday photos compared to what I used to. The Micro Four Thirds cameras, yeah, they are a little bit smaller and lighter than most of the full frame or APS-C cameras, but not all. And a lot of people point out that some of the Sony camera bodies, the full frame Sony camera bodies, the A7s, are equally as small, if not smaller, than some of the Micro Four Thirds. But the advantage for me is the lenses. And this is going to be quite a good one because with that 14 to 140 lens, it's going to make things an awful lot lighter and easier to carry. So I've got a lot of range on that one, which I haven't had before without changing lenses and carrying extra lenses. The 7 to 14, of course, isn't the lightest lens, but it's not too bulky either. It's really good. The only problem with that one, of course, is the very large protrusion of the outer lens on that. But that's not a difficulty. I've got used to that over the time. And of course, my 17mm f1.8, as I said in a previous video, it's one of my favourite lenses, full stop. It's just beautiful. And with the f1.8, I should be able to get down to be able to using it in low light conditions. I quite often go into some historic buildings and churches and things over there when I'm on holiday, and they're usually very poorly lit, and they don't really like the idea of you using a tripod. I will be taking a monopod with me, and again, the monopod I find is a really useful tool, but even then in some of those churches, it's not necessarily considered the right thing to do. So what do you think? I really am interested. Leave comments below. I don't need full in-depth descriptions, but if you just tell me which of the cameras, and I'll list them again in a moment, just keep on listening to the end and I'll tell you what those camera choices are. Let me know what you think is the right one to take and a brief explanation as to why. I really am interested in this one. I'm not going to tell you today which one I take. You'll have to find out for the next video, but of course the next video, hopefully, should be in sunshine. And if you look on the window behind, and you've been able to hear in the background of the soundtrack, it's a bit wet here up in Cumbria, so I'm looking forward to some higher temperatures and some sunnier skies out there. So the cameras again, we've got the GX1, we've got from Lumix, we have the GX8 from Lumix, and we also have the G9. So that's my 3 Lumix choices. And on my Olympus side, we have the E-M1 Mark 1 and the E-M1 Mark 2. Which one would you choose and why? So don't forget, till the next time, which hopefully should be in sunnier climes, this is Brian James at Micro Four Thirds guy saying, keep on taking your camera out, keep on taking your photographs, and keep on enjoying your photography, because I'm sure I'm going to enjoy mine when I get over to Cyprus in a day or two. All the best. See you next time. Bye-bye.